There's an air of uncertainty surrounding the racing industry in Queensland. A major funding proposal is before the state government for consideration, but leaks to the media have caused unrest about the future of harness and greyhound racing, particularly at Albion Park in Brisbane. Racing Queensland says it can't reveal details until the plan is signed off by the government. But for those whose lives depend on it, that can't come soon enough. Meg Purtell reports.
It's just an absolute absurdity that we're going to lose that identity and just be pushed aside, and we can't afford that to happen.
We are awaiting the outcome of a very important era in greyhound racing. I've got a feeling that this time it either makes or breaks greyhound racing.
Albion Park has been at the heart of racing in Queensland since the late 1800s. It was used for the gallops before harness racing took over in the 1980s. Greyhound racing stepped into the boxes in 1992.
Stand by for a new era in Brisbane greyhound racing. They're set. Racing!
Albion Park hasn't been without its controversies. The Russ Hin stand was built in 1983 to honour the former state racing minister, but was knocked down last year because of safety concerns.
That had a very big impact. I mean, as I said, we lost our sponsorship and we lost a lot of our catering revenue.
Now the demolition may be much larger. Earlier this month, Racing Queensland submitted a funding proposal to the state government. It includes the relocation of harness and greyhound racing from Albion Park. It would be sold off for $100 million to make way for housing development. That money would be used to fund upgrades at other tracks.
Residents don't want to see anything else other than sport and recreation on the site. I can't fathom for one moment how they can get $100 million for it. I've asked for the valuation. Hasn't been given to me. I can only assume that they haven't got a valuation.
But the exact details remain shrouded in secrecy, leaving those in the industry in the dark.
It is foolish, I would say, at this point in time to make any decisions or have any discussions until such times as the full scope of the plan is known. Then it is time that the industry should get together and decide whether they're happy with what's been offered by the Racing Queensland.
Racing Queensland refused State Line's requests for an interview because it says the matter is being considered by the government.
There is nothing set in concrete as far as the industry knows. The industry knows that the strategic asset plan has been lodged with the government. Now, whether the government sees fit to approve it or not, I don't know the answer to that question either.
You would think that you would put it to the people, get it sorted out right, then go to government with it. Not secretly have something that's all worked out there, that's the way to do it. It doesn't matter how it affects anybody. We can't, that just cannot happen.
In July, thoroughbreds, harness and greyhound racing were amalgamated under Racing Queensland. The control body says the combined loss for the two codes and the Albion Park facility was $2.1 million last year.
It's a totally unsatisfactory situation. We're not getting a lot of the information that we've sought. We can probably understand now why, when we made the original conditions and requests, that we weren't given the information, because they had different plans.
Those involved with greyhounds remain concerned about prize money and revenue raised through wagering. The industry says it doesn't get its fair share despite bringing in profits. And $10 million promised in compensation after the closure of parklands on the Gold Coast hasn't eventuated 2.5 years on. Developer Kevin Seymour has invested heavily in Albion Park for more than 4 decades. He's against moving.
We've got plans lodged with the Brisbane City Council now. They're actually in at council. And the estimates we received from the project managers and the architects is $16 million for a really modern stand based right on the outside running rail, create a tremendous atmosphere for the patrons.
As for the future of all three industries, that should become clear when the funding proposal is made public. But the Racing Minister won't say when that will happen.
You cannot keep on making decisions that don't work, and this time this decision needs to be very, very much thought through before all this is adopted as to where all of the racing industries are going to end up within the next decade.
I can't believe anybody would come up with this situation and force so much trouble to everybody, because the chaos that's been involved with all this unknown what's going to happen. We're going to go back 3 years because it's going to affect our breeding industry, something chronic.